This is Nick with Temple of Geek, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you for having us.
First off, this movie is has like several different kind of horror genres influencing it, but at the core of the movie is rooted in like real base human emotions and psychology. Can you tell me a bit about what each of your characters was drawing on when it comes to that?
Well, I love hearing that you picked that up because that's basically we had a very truncated, is that the right word? Shooting schedule. We filmed this in 17 days, and the process of making the movie was go to Michael, the director's house the night before, have dinner, talk about the next day's work. And that's what he talked about, like what this means on a human emotional level. And even when it gets weird and wild, what the weird, wild stuff represents in terms of the human experience. And I would, my main focus was um, the ego, particularly the male ego. And while it can be an incredible thing, it can also be the most poisonous thing on this planet. And I think that we all have both aspects of that in ourselves. Um, and this story is what happens when you let the ego drive.
Very much. Lily, how about you?
And I think that Alma is a projected self of Ren. She's everything that he either thinks he is currently or wants to be. And she is a reflection of all of the emotions that he has fought to numb over the last years, or the many emotions that he's already incapable of accessing. And she's kind of this vehicle that he uses to open himself up to be able to access his emotions.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like she is what he wants to be, but also at the same time the way he can achieve what he wants. Like by helping her, maybe he can become the person he believes he is, but at the same time, it's weird. It's weird, man. It's weird.
It's a great weird though. Like in following this, like I wasn't able to guess where things were going, and it really took me on that kind of mind trip that like even after the movie, I had to still kind of wrap my brain around what I saw.
Good.
Ethan, I've been a fan of your career, and a lot of your earlier roles kind of had that like youthful innocence to it. But a role like this, a character like Ren has like so many dark struggles, like you're saying, like when it comes to like the ego. How was your experience on taking on a role like this?
I mean, I loved it. I was very excited to be invited to be a part of it. I a lot of that motivated by the challenge of completing the project. But I mean, when you're young, like that's the beauty of youth. Like, yeah, I was cheerful when I was young. I was young, you know? And we've had a wild human experience over the last 35 years. And if you're paying attention, being an adult is a wild place. Being an adult man is a wild place. Um, and I like jobs that force me to look at my own choices and my own behavior, my own wrongs, because I think things act like acting is the greatest therapy group you could ever have because you it forces you to look at yourself. My process, anyway, I have to identify with forces me to look at the places that usually I try to ignore, that I don't pay attention to.
Lily, you're coming off of another unique horror movie, Sinners, of course, and you were fantastic in it. Uh, and but these two movies are vastly different, even though they would be like categorized in a similar genre. Could you tell me what drew you to this role?
To Alma, I loved that she is everything that I'm not as Lily. I am very attracted to the fact that she's got an innocence to her. She is uninhibited and she's spicy and a bit of a spitfire. And I like that ultimately she is kind of the voice of, not the voice of reason as much as the voice of Ren's reality in the end. And I love psychological thrillers, so I was very sold on the big twist. That was kind of like the the seal that
Let
I
me ask you a question, Nick.
Oh yeah.
Was there any comedy in it for you?
Um, uh, I mean, in a way, kind of a dark humor with
Yes.
that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like even though there's a lot of serious tones constantly throughout this, there's still kind of that, yeah, there's that dark humor aspect.
I have a running argument with Michael, our director, that this is actually a comedy. And every time I would tell him, he's like, no, it's not. It's like, Michael, yes, it is. Just a really dark comedy.
Really dark.
Yeah.
And but with those like with the practical effects, with the practical
Uh-huh.
effects and
Yeah.
makeup, it's both like crazy, and that kind of also adds to like the tangibility, but also the humor and horror all in one.
Yep.
But how did that inform your performances?
I mean, for me anyway, and I think it's safe to assume for Lily also is it's always driven, even when you do the most broad stuff, you try to drive it in a base of reality. You let the situation do the work if it's comedic or and especially with something like this because it is more based on emotional and psychological elements than anything else. But they're that's one of the things I loved about it that like our dinner together when we have the date, you know,
Mhm.
there's comedy in there. Kevin, he's a fantastic comedian. Michael's past is comedy, the practical effects like you mentioned. So giving the audience the license to also laugh during this horrific experience. I like mixing them. I like blending them together like that.
Thank you so much for talking to us. Really appreciate your time and such a great movie, and I wish you all the success.
Thanks,
think.
dude.
Thanks so much.